Good evening, everybody. This is a grumpy old guy gaming on another Fragment Friday, bringing you a little bit of a playthrough. Gonna do commentary along with this one, but more importantly, just sorta sharing my thoughts on a little over a month playing Fragment now. And on a first for my channel here, I'll be playing Grumpo Guy, my long arm alternate account. My main account is a Blade Master. I usually bring that out for the Weekend Warrior series. And my other alternate is a Wave Master that I've been playing rather extensively and recording in the Learning to Die Less series, where I learn to die less as a character and pretty much die the same amount every time I record a video as a YouTube content creator. We're here on the Cypheria server for this one. Went to a level 10 Firefield, Expansive Eternal Melody being the keywords. So if you're playing Fragment, go ahead and hop onto the Cypheria server if it's up and give those keywords a run. Let me know how you do. Facing off against some shield men here early. Able to take them out with a relative amount of ease. Now, this long arm character has a bit of an advantage. While I was playing my Blade Master one day, I picked up a bloody spear and was able to trade it to my wife's account and have her trade it to my long arm here, and the Death Touch ability on it has been a bit of a lifesaver. On an otherwise frustrating run, I have to admit, after the initial frustration of building up my Wave Master, I've managed to get a fairly comfortable playstyle going with it, but I just can't seem to make any substantial progress with the long arm. It's one of those 2 steps forward, 2 steps back kind of deals. Like I said, I've been playing Fragment for a little over a month now, sort of a dream come true for me. I remember vaguely following this game a little when it came out. One of those things I wished would come this way. I was big into the Dot Hack series when I was younger, and just sort of looking for a game like it. I was playing Infection like crazy. I owned that one for a long time before picking up any of the other games in the IMOQ series. And it was fun, but the twin blade, the dual wielding rogue just never has been my style in an RPG. Long arm is a bit of a departure for me, but it's a fighter type, and I generally do find myself playing fighter types these days because they're nice and simple. You go in and you hit the thing. Clearing the field portals here we pull up 2 more shield men and a rockhead. Been doing a lot of Firefields lately, especially in this range between my Wave Master and my long arm. So I'm fairly familiar with the creature base here before we got going. Also have a rough idea of the item set that I'm going to be pulling from. So I don't expect to pull any equipment here unless I data drain that's going to be all that useful to me. At this point I think the experience and gold accrued from items will be a bit more useful. Another thing I've noticed with my long arm, I don't know whether I've just had the misfortune of that many unsuccessful runs or what, but this character really hasn't piled on the gold like my other 2 characters have. You'll notice I'm not using speed charms here. I typically do save those for if I'm playing multiplayer and the other person wants to use speed charms. They are beneficial getting through a field quicker. I don't know how it would help evading combat because I'll be honest, I've been hit by monsters that I am way far away from with their just melee attacks. Simply because I was in range at the start of the animation. There I saw I hit for 0 damage on that one strike and popped the shield ability of the shield man. A logical thing, but I didn't actually know that was a physical ability of that monster. So neat little quirk there. Gonna work my way from the outside in on these portals. I'm gonna go to the one that feels the furthest away and work closer to it. Here's a quick look at the status. Almost level 9 on this. Heading down, see 2 more rock heads. There was that death touch ability where you saw the danger pop up there. That was pretty clutch. Took out a nice amount of hit points. Usually if you could get that in the first couple hits, it is going to do a ton of damage. Not going to take the monster out outright, but it will get it within a hit or two. Generally, if you can combine that with Aptorv, the ability to give yourself physical attack accuracy up, you're in pretty good shape in most of your combats. I haven't done too much equipment shopping as far as selective abilities went for this character yet. Need to sit down and do that sometime, and if you're playing Fragment, that's usually a good time to go server hopping when you have a little downtime. Just go between the root towns when you have a little bit of gold matched up there. Don't suggest buying equipment far over your character level unless you're looking to just power play for a bit. If you are, that's a nice easy way to gain some levels. That way it comes down to, will you one-hit the monster, or will the monster one-hit you? Here, this rockhead's giving me a fair amount of trouble, so we're going to chew up a few health drinks. Have the data drain up, and again, I'm more concerned about the experience on this one. I will say it is kind of neat the way this game is set up. The ability to enter into an area server or even host your own area server. Days I'm not recording, I typically tend to host my area server up. Right now I've got Mulston, which is Netslum backwards, because as you could tell from this commentary, I am not the most creative person running up against a red worm here. Working on another server of my own, and I also downloaded the zip file for the Storytime Dungeon save that was on the Fragment Resurgence Discord. That is a very fun and ambitious project taken up there. Thanks to the person who built that, that has been very enjoyable to look through. Even the random dungeons it generates, very, very fun. Coming up against another red worm here, and the red worms are taking a lot of damage, but are also getting hit fairly easily. They can deal a ton of damage up close and at a range, so the quicker you can take them out, the better. Before I could disarm this trap, a rockhead comes up. One thing I have noticed in Fragment, the wandering monsters on the field are very pervasive. I do remember them in the Infection, Mutation, Outbreak, and Quarantine series. Didn't quite feel this urgent, but I think that's because the penalties for failure weren't quite as steep in those games either. So there's always that little bit of urgency where you think you're safe and you see danger popping up on the side of the screen and you're like, oh no. Another rockhead pops up as I'm about to enter the dungeon. Deal with that quick, and let's head inside. And inside the dungeon, still got a physical accuracy boost and hit point regeneration going from those 2 symbols I picked up out there. Gonna come to a portal here that's gonna drop a couple rockheads into the room, and try and take them out one at a time here. Get a bit of a help from that death touch early on, keeps my hit points in good accord up against this rockhead, and I don't dip too low at all. Finish it off, 12 experience a pop there for a total of 24 in that room, and a trap chest to boot. Trap chests, in my experience, typically drop more equipment. As you can see right there, I picked up a Phantom Twin. There's a Meteor Swarm in that chest. Hit these breakable items, get a health drink, another Fire Tempest. and round it out with just breaking an item for the fun of breaking an item. Gonna run into the next room. Get a little confused on the camera angle there, nothing new there for repeat viewers. Judging the camera angles in those rooms I really should be better at. Take out these rock heads and in the process I level up to 9. Gets my health up to a decent level and gives me a bit more mana. Coming into this room here, it's a dead end. There's going to be an altar at the end of it. The altar sometimes has chests on it and sometimes has eggs on it. So we're going to finish up that battle and take a look, and this time it is completely empty. But we did get some experience from that battle and we will head on. One of the things I'll say is really neat about this is a lot of times I'll just be wrapping up recording video for one of these, and as I'm about to leave, all of a sudden I'll look down and see player connecting, and the next thing I know I am running a dungeon with a complete stranger just for the heck of it. If I do happen to run a dungeon with you, feel free to grab as much of the chests and items as possible. I know I'm running a lot of these extra just to record this material, and sometimes just in a little downtime because I do enjoy the game. So that's sort of my way of giving back, and as a thank you for a little bit of extra play. Pick up a chest here. Got a corridor with a little side corridor there. I guess not little, this is a large size room. 3 monsters coming out of this portal. I don't find rock heads to be as intimidating as I did in the PlayStation 2 series. They always sort of felt like the bane of my existence early on because they were such stout defensive monsters. Here it's like, yeah, they take a bunch of hits. Pick up leather legs out of that chest here and run with the old side view so you get a good look at Grumpo Guy in action. And here's a treasure room, so we're going to break open all of these pots and be rewarded for our efforts. Get a nice batch of consumables here. Restoratives, a burning oil, a health potion. Not a health potion, a health drink, my mistake. And a golden egg. Now we'll continue on our way. This time, just finishing off this room, checking out the other door available. And behind it we have the stairs down to the 2nd floor, which we will take. Little corridor here. I'm not gonna lie, with this character, I really don't get more comfortable as I level. Just had some unfortunate luck in the past with it. Be the sort of deal where I'll level up and then later in that dungeon I'll lose that level on a character death. Here we come up against a couple mummy rippers. They're that group of monsters that tends to just run circles around you and strike when they can. Like to take those out as quickly as possible, simply so they aren't distracting me by running around. That, and I know they're fairly low hit point and easy defense to break through, so it doesn't take but a hit or two. Pick up a set of leather legs there and continue on through the room to the door. Didn't really have a design as to whether to go through this dungeon quickly or explore everything, just sorta played it by feel as I hit each room. Picked up a fire tempest out of that chest and we'll continue up the map here. Another little treasure room, couple breakables and a chest. Get a burning oil and the levers. Very creepy aesthetic in these cave walls. A lot of hanging skeletons. think one of the things I liked about the dungeon design in Dot Hack was it always had that sort of creepy but really cheesy Halloween decorations feel going for it. That's sort of where I'm at in my love of horror. Like, I like it, but I can also appreciate the tacky factor. And the little things like the giant skeletons half trapped in the cave walls, it's just like so over the top. Take out a mummy ripper there, and probably one of my top 3 least favorite enemy lines, the Mimic. This one I take out without too big a problem, cast a quick rep spell to heal afterwards, and continue on my merry way. Gonna see a few more Mimics here in this video. You tend to expect them on fire fields. I think they appear on lightning fields too. Pick up an invisible egg, which has been pointed out is very, very visible, but usually when I run across them in multiplayer, I will be the total dork and remind people not to tell the egg we could see it. Heading into the next room, here we have our stairs down to floor number 3. So that's 2 floors of the dungeon cleared already. Usually about floor 3 is where I start wondering, where is that statue room? Clearing is fine, experience is fine, but at the end of the day, you want the statues, you want the treasures. Pick up a health drink here, help me replenish some of the stuff I've burnt out in the field, and then acquire the death, this time in the consumable sense. Here we run up against a mummy ripper and a couple of mimics, and anytime you see 2 mimics, you expect to be confused. As you can see with the question marks above my head, my character's just now going to blindly attack anything in front of it. Dispatches the mimic quickly, and I'm sort of stuck there for a second in place till the confusion wears off. Danger of confusion at all times is just having your hit points too low and not being able to heal. Something I go into great detail on in the Learning to Die Less series because it's really sort of the bane of the Wave Master. At low level, most things are the bane of the Wave Master because they deal damage, and the Wave Master is sort of a single-use damage sponge. That said, confusion in particular, because it incapacitates most of your playstyle and puts you into your weakest mode of attack, is pretty much the bane of the Wave Master. Gonna clear out this room real quick, get the death out of that chest, smack the crap out of that corpse warrior, and nothing in that corner, so we're just gonna go to the door here. Little treasure room here. And we are once again up against a mummy ripper and a mimic. Mimics all too quick to confuse me. Sometimes I sort of take confusion as a blessing in disguise when I'm playing a melee heavy class. That way I don't have to keep pressing the button. Sort of give my thumb a break there. Pick up a cougar bandana. That's got La Rep in it, which is a nice little party heal spell. It'll heal you and your nearby allies. Little trick I learned the other day, just sort of reading through the Discord after work, is apparently you can use your shortcuts with the up and down direction buttons respectively to hit other targets with your shortcut abilities. Tested it out, strangely enough, later that day. Very scenario I was alluding to earlier. I'd run a dungeon and was heading out, and a Wave Master popped up in the town I was selling my items in. And we ended up running a dungeon, and so I just kept chucking mage souls at them, because they were lower level and expending all of their spells. Still, fun to help, especially fun when you don't have to navigate the menus. Originally I didn't think too much of the shortcuts menu when I started playing Fragment, because I was used to, IMOQ and the menus just pausing everything. So it was a little jarring at first, and then I realized that if anybody opening a menu paused the game in a multiplayer scenario, it would just look like the game froze because everybody would constantly be hitting triangle. Once again, confused by a mimic here. If you're looking for a drinking game, I would not suggest a shot every time a mimic confuses you. You may wind up with little glowing yellow question marks above your own eyes. Pick up an invisible egg here and exit the room. Gonna backtrack a little bit here. Always nice to get as much of a floor as explored as possible, especially given the fact that I'm of the mindset that fairies orbs are better used in emergencies. I suppose I could carry more, but especially lower level building up a character, I always feel like that gold could go to better equipment or more consumables that are more tangible. I guess the fairy's orb would help me find the quickest route to a floor, or at least let me know how many rooms I'm looking at. Overall though, I don't mind the experience of popping the rooms open as I go. Gonna head down the map here. Got a golden egg right in front of us as we wait for this portal to open. And we've got a snakeoid joining the mix, so we've seen snakeoids, mummy rippers, and mimics so far on this field. Well, in this dungeon, as well as rockheads. Don't recall seeing any shield men in the dungeon. No, we saw them in the field, and I know we saw red worms in the field, but that's typically a lower level monster as far as dungeons in this level range go. Typically gotta get to the 4th or 5th floor to see those. Here we pick up the lovers out of one chest and a cougar bandana in the other. Pass yet another giant skeleton that couldn't evade a rock wall, and we will grab the stairs down to the 4th floor. Big long hallway to run through on this one. Rooms like this are nice if you just got out of a pretty taxing battle and you've got health regen. Sort of let you get those few extra hit points back before you go. Got a choose your own direction room here. We are going to veer off to the left as it appears on the mini-map. Hit this square room and we have a snakeoid and a mimic. Make that 2 mimics. You'd think after playing through and going back to record audio over it, I would be able to count to 2, but I sort of missed that one off in the distance there. Heal after battle, and then disarm the trap on the chest. Picking up yet another cougar bandana. At this point I'm looking at those as a decent amount of gold gained every time I get one. Kind of don't want to throw a cougar bandana on this long arm. I don't know really stats wise if it's going to be all that useful, and to be honest, keeping the mana consumption at a minimum, the skill points, is sort of imperative for me. I like to have some for the attack stats. Being able to attack with a skill and just multi-hit an enemy that I know has a really low physical defense or evade is kind of clutch. You lose out on that death touch ability without manually attacking, but you can pile on a lot of damage in a short amount of time. Here we're up against a red worm. Again, always a threat to drop damage in a number of ways. There, try to fire spell, missed the first, hit the second. And we're just going to be hacking away at it. It hits us with a breath attack, and we are down. We lose 1,000 experience and a level. Hopefully you enjoyed this playthrough. Happy Fragment Friday, everyone. This has been a Grumpy Old Guy Gaming. Take care.